Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where professionals in the field inform, educate and inspire the community to be healthier, more balanced and live the lifestyle they love. And today we have Sarah Kiryshin in the studio, who is a barbecue cook and healthy food advocate. Welcome, Sarah. What have you got for us today?
So I am an absolute barbecue fanatic. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my fundamental rules when it comes to barbecuing, okay? So for me, I am a very, very busy person. I live quite an active lifestyle and I love food. Number one, the food must always be delicious. But for me, barbecuing makes it more delicious. There's that incredible flavour that you cannot describe that comes from a barbecue, especially when you cook over charcoal. The other thing is it has to be simple. And of course, quick. That was the other point as well. So delicious, simple and quick. They are my three fundamentals to cooking on the barbecue.
Do you want to talk about what you've got here?
Absolutely. So this is actually quite a special dish. When it comes to my beautiful snapper here, all I do is I pop as many herbs as I possibly can inside because as it cooks, they're going to infuse the flesh from the inside out. So herbs and lemon, it's kind of that simple. And then on the outside, I usually make a few incisions in the fish. And in this particular one, I've just got some fennel and lemon. And that's it. Again, that beautiful, gentle aniseed flavour of the fennel and the lemon complements the fish so beautifully and it keeps it really, really light and fresh, and that's what we want, especially when we're having a delicious fish like this. And then really, it's as simple as just making sure the barbecue is hot enough. That's essential because the last thing you want is the fish sticking to it. And then you just pop it on there. So what I love to serve my fish with is some sweet potatoes and of course complementing that with some grilled fennel as well, because that's already in the fish and I just feel like it kind of ties it all in together. So call it a kind of quick, easy, healthy take on fish and chips. When it comes to cooking a delicious dish on the barbecue, there's three kind of core steps. So obviously selecting the food that you plan on cooking. Number two is, of course, cooking the amazing food. And number three, which is certainly most people's favourite, which is actually consuming it and serving it up. So when we're talking about selection of the ingredients that you're going to be cooking with, for me, especially when selecting a fish, ideally you do have a fish shop or a fishmonger that you can trust and ask a few questions about the freshness of it, where it comes from. So this is a snapper. When I look at a snapper, I think, okay, we always want the eyes to be quite clear and bright. If they're cloudy, it means it's probably been sitting there a little while. When it comes to the skin, you want it to be quite smooth and glossy, but not slimy. So they're kind of the two key tips to look for when selecting a fish: bright eyes and smooth skin. The next thing is, so fennel, for example, most greengrocers will have beautiful fresh fennel. One of my favourite things when selecting fennel is to make sure that the bulb is quite large. The next step is, of course, cooking it. So what we do is we stuff the fish, we put all of our beautiful herbs, maybe some fennel fronds in there. We will slice the lemon and fennel quite thin. So if you have a mandolin, it's a lot easier to shave the fennel down. And then you'll pop a few incisions in the flesh. You want to get quite low down so that you can get as much flesh as you can. Cut a few slices in there, and that's when you'll pop a couple of slices of lemon and a few pieces of shaved fennel in there as well. It can be tricky. I know a lot of people might find it a little bit daunting to cook a fish on the barbecue because the first thing you think is the skin's probably going to stick to the barbecue. So I've got a few tips to remedy that. But what I would always suggest is to make sure the barbecue is extra hot. So when you put it on, it kind of sears and seals the skin as you pop it on the barbecue. The next one is to oil. Oil the skin as much as you can. Obviously, we want to make sure that we have a balance between consuming too much oil and making sure the dish is still nice and healthy, but also making sure the fish doesn't stick. keep in mind a lot of that oil will cook off in the cooking process. A lot of the amazing juices will drip down into the charcoal and then they will re-infuse the food, which makes it even more delicious. And then with the sweet potato chips, they're so simple. You just slice them up, pop them on the barbecue, a little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, maybe some herbs if you like. They take probably about 5 minutes either side, whereas the fish will take about 10 minutes either side. I like to try and keep it off super direct heat because we want it to cook all the way through. And then when you flip it, we obviously want to make sure that we've got a similar cooking time on the other side to make sure that fish is cooked perfectly. When it comes to flipping the fish, we don't want to move it around too much, otherwise that skin will slide off the fish. So usually I just get a big spatula. I also get some tongs to pop on the fish to maybe secure it a little bit. And you just slide the spatula under there and use your tongs just to gently flip it.
Sarah, I'd love to hear your top barbecue tips.
All right, there are quite a few. I will summarise it for this dish. So when it comes to barbecuing, one thing to remember is it's not as prohibitive as it may seem. It can actually be quite quick and easy. And for the value for money in terms of, and the return on investment, the flavour, and also just that active process of cooking something outside is well worth the short and quite simple investment of time. So I like to cook over charcoal. The flavour is so much better, the heat distribution is phenomenal, and the way that it holds its heat for such a long time is really valuable to me when I'm cooking on the barbecue. The next step is to make sure that you use I prefer to use a natural fire lighter. The last thing you want is to taint the taste of the food that you're going to be cooking on the barbecue. So always opt for a natural fire lighter. So the next step, what I did with this snapper is I used some oak smoking chunks. So just before I pop the food on the barbecue, I pop a few smoking chunks among the charcoal, and then what you've got is this additional flavour explosion, and it's just smoking up that food and it's infusing it with so much flavour.
Thank you so much for sharing those really handy tips. If you want to learn more about Sarah and barbecue cooking and how to cook this incredible snapper, go to Sarah's webpage on our website at healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. Now stay tuned because after the break we've got another guest and we'll be discussing another interesting topic.
After the break, breathwork expert and life coach Christine Hart-Savage will be talking about developing emotional intelligence. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and our next guest is breathwork and life coach Christine Hart-Savage, and the topic we'll be discussing today is developing emotional intelligence. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you, Megan. It's great to be back again.
Christine, emotional intelligence is a really hot topic at the moment. Could you describe for us what emotional intelligence is?
Emotional intelligence is huge, absolutely huge. It's one of those things that we think, what is emotional intelligence? We've got academic sort of intelligence, IQ, and this is EQ. And I think we have SQ, which is spiritual intelligence as well. So it doesn't matter how much IQ we have. Emotional intelligence is a different thing. So we could be the most intelligent person on earth, but if we don't have emotional intelligence, often our life doesn't flow, it doesn't work, it doesn't go in the direction we want. So emotional intelligence, I'll tell you what it isn't first. And I used to have a lot of the isn't, like a lot of us do. So in my earlier life, I was so sensitive to everything, I was reactive. Now when we have emotional reactions going on inside us, whether we actually act on them or not, we're charged. So there's this constant feeling of being sucked down the rabbit hole. That emotion that takes us away from being present. We can't see anything clearly when we're in an emotional state, a charged emotional state. And most of us are reactive to that. So we go through life and whatever's happening around us, or maybe a friend makes a comment, or a husband or a wife makes a comment, or a teacher, or whoever it might be, and suddenly we feel this feeling inside and we are gone. We're actually not there anymore. When we're in that, that is not emotional intelligence. We are lost in an old pattern of behaviour, an old pattern of thinking and feeling. So we want to avoid that sort of thing. So we have to work on healing those deeper layers and bringing our emotional pains and hurts and traumas into balance.
Christine, do you think we have our own ability to choose our own personal path?
I definitely think we do. And this is something that I did not realise when I was younger. I bounced around, just reacting to whatever life brought into my world. I did not know that we could choose our thoughts. I did not know that thoughts created. I did not know that we could choose to work with our emotional state and bring it into harmony and balance. Yes, I do believe we can choose who we want to be in the world. Most definitely.
Do you have any examples you'd like to give us of this?
I'll talk about a realisation I had one day. I studied metaphysical science and I love metaphysical science. And I was reading some of the literature and it suddenly occurred to me, wow, I have made such a mess of my life. So all that emotional attachment I had to things and reactions is a lot of life force being wasted on drama, wasted on chaos. And I thought, if I can really choose who I'm going to be in the world and I can change my thoughts and my reactions, I could use that energy and life force to create something wonderful for myself. What if I have the power to do that? So what I did then was look at values. And I thought, well, what are my values? What do I value? And who are the people that I admire in life? And one of them was my grandmother. She is the most beautiful, beautiful, loving lady, my grandmother. I was very close to her. And I thought, what are the qualities that she shows that I like? And she was warm, she was friendly, she was authentic, she was strong, and she laughed a lot. And she was clever. And I thought, I love all of those qualities. I don't know if I have them, but I'm going to choose those qualities and I'm going to actually start bringing them into my life and embodying them. I'm going to choose the values I like and really whittle those down to a few and start to live those values and bring those qualities of those values into my life, to bring them into my being and to live them and to act them out. And one of the thoughts I had, Megan, was if I am choosing to be a certain way in life, is that a lie? Or is it the truth? And I thought, well, is my past and who I've been a lie or the truth? And then I started to think about, well, I've made a bit of a mess of my earlier life. If I can create a new life, one that I like, that is more peaceful and flowing and interactive with people, surely that's the way to go. So I decided that it was a choice. It's a choice to be who we're choosing to be in life. And then having the ability and the commitment to step into those values and embody the qualities of those values. So I started to do that. And I've worked with my mind so much in my life. So one of the things with emotional intelligence is being able to become non-reactive, non-attached to outcomes of things. So to do that, I use my breath a lot in my life to balance myself.
Christine, what should the viewers and I do to develop our own emotional intelligence?
Really become aware of yourself. Become aware of your thoughts. Become aware of your emotions. Become aware of your actions. and then line those up with the values that you hold dear to you, and try to embody those, the qualities of those values into your life and act those out. So it does take a lot of practice. And one of the things is, any time and every time you catch yourself being caught up in some emotion or feeling like, I'm going to get back at that person, that payback sort of energy, catch that. And every time you catch it, don't go crooked yourself. Put your arm up, bend it at the elbow, pat yourself on the back and say, I caught myself. I am moving forward. I am getting it. So we can work in a way that we're kind to ourselves, but we need to be really focused and really committed to making those changes, but it's worth it, because then we design who we're going to be and we can live a really wonderful life by our own life design. By leading ourselves in our life, we become much more emotionally intelligent.
Thanks, Christine. That's such fantastic information. If you'd like to know more about developing emotional intelligence or Christine Hart-Savage, go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we'll have another interesting guest with another interesting topic.
Stay tuned. After the break, Yoga for Wellbeing instructor and author Pauline Rooney is talking about electronic devices for work, school and pleasure and yoga. Welcome back, and now we have Pauline Rooney back with us, our Yoga for Wellbeing instructor and author. And now we're talking about devices in work, computers, and in school and in the environment, really. Welcome back, Pauline.
Thanks, Linda. It's lovely to be back.
And today the topic is devices in our workplace or school, in our environment really, mobile phones. So how much time do we spend on these devices?
Linda, I personally was shocked when I was doing the research. On average, we spend approximately 17 years of our life on smartphones and other devices. And I found that truly amazing. I have read other reports that state that that 17 hours is only on smartphones, and other devices are added on top of that. No matter which way you look at it, Linda, we're on our devices a lot.
And how can we incorporate yoga into this? How does yoga help us to look at this differently?
Well, the blessings of yoga is we can do yoga everywhere and anywhere, and it is for everyone and everybody. So if you're at work or even at school, the same things apply. We tend to sit very still and lean in, and there's the yoga poses of sitting back, lifting, doing a spinal twist. We can do all of those, run our legs up and down, cross the arms over like this, all of these things. If you are at work, you can still read your emails while you're doing these. So there's no downtime with the yoga in the office, in the gaming room, schoolroom, or when we're having fun on the computer for relaxation. So there's just so many things. I could be here all day telling you about them. But the major ones is sitting up, because most people slouch when they're on a device. So it's sitting up, keeping the shoulders back and down. But also, Linda, I don't think many people think about their eyes, right? So with the yoga, we have what we call palming. It's I think we do it naturally. I really do. But we rub our hands and get them lovely and warm. We close our eyes and gently cup our eyes over, and we breathe in the warm. It is truly amazing how that, I'm sure you've experienced it too, that tired, glassy feeling, it takes all that away. And it gives us a cleaner look at our screens. So we see things more clearly. We're not misinterpreting what is being on the screen. We can read more and for longer. If you take short breaks, you can stay on your device for longer periods of time. It's very important. The other thing that yoga puts a great deal of attention to is what we call Hasta yoga. And that's the yoga of hands. I don't think a lot of people have heard about it. It's absolutely amazing. So if you incorporate Hasta yoga into the work, play or school time, you'll be amazed for the carpal tunnel, for the arm strength, all fingers, flexibility, mobility, and it's as simple as bringing each finger in turn together and then going back. You do that on both hands. This one may look a little bit tricky, but it's extraordinarily good because it works through the carpal tunnels. We have to close down our tall man. Then we're going to, if you lock those down, it's a lot easier. You're going to face your left hand up and your right hand down, so your index and ring go together and your index and ring go together. Now we take the pressure off the tall man and just sit like that and work those fingers back. You will be amazed how much work that is up the wrists. And then we release them and turn them over. It's fantastic, absolutely. And then we always circle through our wrists, because even with the trackball, we're fairly sedentary. We're working 3 or 4 of the movements. Sliding, same thing. So we need to keep the mobility in our wrists. So just folded leaf, see your fingernails, circle around, back. They are fantastic. The other one I really do like, and I can read my emails, pointer and thumb, and then if you can, look, this is going to look different from every person. Step the fingers up and over because it pulls the fingers back in an opposite direction. So it's a bit tricky looking really. And then we can let those down and then give the fingers a little bit of a wiggle.
Fantastic, fantastic.
They're so simple and so easy. Another one that I like to do is sit and ripple my arms, just like that, because our hands are up here. We want the circulation going through. We want to drop the shoulders and give that weight. Even those, they're great. Just to ripple through, get the movement going, fantastic. The other one that helps the cardiovasculars is running on the spot. And that is as simple as sitting straight and running up and down like that. Again, you can be reading something, you can be on the phone, you can be gaming, you can be waiting while the other students are having their say. So all of this, it doesn't matter what age, what circumstance, if you're on a device, you can be doing yoga. It's that simple.
And what about your best advice for as the last takeaway today for our viewers?
Oh, look, there's so many, Linda. I could go on and on. But honestly, if you're stretching up, so just raise the arms, you might get your arms up to here, or you can get them right up. That's okay. The other one I think is very important is the shoulder roll, because we're sitting over way too much. And when we sit over, we squash our tummy a little bit too much, so we need to sit up. And when you're rolling your shoulders, it's very difficult to roll from down here. So we need to sit up and give that lovely roll, but keep those arms in. I really think between that and the palming for the eyes would be my 2 extremely good tips.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to know more about Pauline Rooney and yoga for wellbeing, specifically in this case about devices, then please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au, and we will say goodbye now till next week.
If you'd like to know more about our show, please like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.